example of doing a sign?
Yeah.
Are you speaking to?
Does it work from the, like, does it still work? Can you be doing this above you if I go and choose the same thing? Or does it have to be doing it?
You know what? Even if you were going to be sarcastic and ironic, I think you should still act as though it was personal in order to leave these kind of stuff. Right?
Yeah. So let's just say
So let's just say it was yeah. Great. I know that you're sexist, not me. Because it was like,
yeah, I'm glad you said that.
well, right, because I wanted to put him down to a better level. Basically, right. And
You better smoke.
was that an example of doing a sign?
Yeah.
Are you speaking to?
Does it work from the,
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
So, hey, servus, lange nicht mehr gesehen, ne? Ja, ich habe es tatsächlich geschafft. Ich war die ganze Zeit in meinem Urlaub, meinen kompletten Urlaub durchgehend krank. Perfekt, oder? Heute nochmal und morgen und dann ist alles durch. Ich hatte so viel vorgehabt und ich war den ganzen Urlaub krank, ne? Wer kennt's nicht? 300 Tage im Jahr. Hier, ich arbeite. Und die 30 Tage Urlaub, ich lege mich mal hin, ne? Ich mache mal Matratzenhörtest. Langzeittest war das quasi. Ja, whatever. Das Spiel ist jetzt gerade im Angebot. Das dachte ich mir, kaufe ich mir mal. Und ich nutze die Gelegenheit heute, weil ich mich ein bisschen besser fühle. Also ich habe immer noch Halsschmerzen und so. Aber ich hatte übrigens grippale Infekte, also da ging gar nichts. Ich habe keinen Ton rausgekriegt, mir war schwindelig. Also das ist jetzt quasi ein Experiment. Ich will testen, wie lange ich das kann, ob ich es wieder kann oder ob ich noch bis komplett nächste Woche warten muss, weißt du? Dachte ich schiebe das einfach mal kurz hier rein. Wenn ich mir das Spiel schon mal angucke, dann möchtest du ja vielleicht dabei sein, so nach dem Motto. Gut. Ja, so ist besser. Mit 90 habe ich vielleicht ein bisschen übertrieben. Gut, das Spiel wird extrem gut bewertet und keine Ahnung, die Bewertungen sind ein bisschen komisch, aber hey, ich mag ja komische Spiele, ne? Schauen wir mal. Ja, alles
All of his
zu.
co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Wohin? Im Wartungszimmer? Ich bin kein Büromensch, also keine Ahnung. Retro. Also wenn ich diese ganzen Einrichtungen so sehe, ist das Spiel ein bisschen in der Vergangenheit angesiedelt. Ne? So, ganz kleines bisschen. Der ist an. Oh, er ist aus. Ah, shit. Ich dachte, ich könnte da was machen.
Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference, nor did it advance the story in any way.
Kommentiert er alles, was ich tue? Klack, klack. Nein?
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Tut er das? Nee, heute nicht.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Stimmt. Stimmt, der kommentiert wirklich alles, oder? Also ich glaube, die Türen kann ich vergessen, oder? Die sind alle zu.
Ah, yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in.
Kaffee.
Yes, really, really worth it being here in the room. A room so utterly captivating that even though all your co-workers have mysteriously vanished, here you sit looking at these chairs and some paintings. Really worth it.
Das erinnert mich irgendwie an Shenmue, weißt du? Der Vater wird ermordet, ich muss den Mörder schnappen, aber ich gehe erstmal in die Spielhalle.
And reflected poorly on his overall personality. It's possible that this is why everyone left.
Wegen mir. Wegen mir sind alle weg. Ja, genau. Okay, ja, ich gehe schon
But at
weiter.
last, he'd had enough of the amazing room and took the first open door on his left to get back to business.
Tue ich das? Morgen wieder, morgen. Immer morgen. Das heißt ja nicht umsonst, was du kannst noch heute versieben, sollst du nie auf morgen verschieben, richtig?
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Warum bin ich eigentlich so klein? Oh, mein Kind berührt gerade so die Kante hier von diesem Skizziertisch oder wie die Dinge heißen, wo man da die Umrissen so erstellt. Oh Mann, ich bin so ein wandelnder 1,52 Meter, oder? Oh cool, Lagerraum. Da oben sind Wege, kann ich da überall hin? Da hinten sind Wege. Da ist noch eine Tür. Kann ich hüpfen? Nee, ne? Ne, gar nichts geht. Bitte nicht springen von der Ladefläche. Okay, während sie sich in Bewegung befindet. Ah ja, okay, okay. 5.000 $ Strafe, wenn ich auf dem Ding anfange zu springen. Okay.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've got
Das
off
ist eine
on
Tür.
the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but
Warte mal.
you all this time. What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance.
Das ist cool. Der Kommentator ist cool. Der reagiert auf jeden Mist hier, echt cool. Ich sehe schon, also nicht das zu machen, was er sagt, ist Sinn des Spiels, oder? Was auch immer Sinn des Spiels ist. Ja, wir suchen unsere Kollegen, schon klar. past this point. No buckets. Keine Eimer erlaubt, okay. Warum auch immer.
Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
Oh Mann. Dasselbe Spiel nochmal nur mit Farben. Nach links? Nach rechts. Ja, danke. Unterschiedlicher geht nicht, oder? Oh Gott. Links, rechts, links, rechts. Ach komm.
Oh, thank God you are willing to listen to me. You see that I really have wanted you to be happy all this time. The problem is all these choices. The two of us always trying to get somewhere that isn't here. Running and running and running, just the way you're doing right now. Don't you see that it's killing us, Stanley? I wanted to stop. We would both be so much happier if we just stopped. And I think I have a solution. Here, let me show you.
Ah, dankeschön. Ich dachte schon, er will sich bei mir rächen, weil ich laufend mache, was er nicht sagt. Okay.
What do we want? What are we looking for? Here. Yes. Oh, it's beautiful, isn't it? If we just stay right here, right in this moment with this place, Stanley, I think I feel happy. I actually feel happy.
Voll meditativ. Okay. Nur wo im Büro soll das sein? Oh wow. Also runterfallen kann ich nicht zum Glück. Okay, passiert hier noch was oder? Ich denke, das war's, oder?
No, wait. Where are you going?
Zurück?
Right. Where were we?
Oh Mann. Wohin führt das? Ah, jetzt sagt er nichts mehr, gut.
Oh no. Stay away from those stairs. If you hurt yourself, if you die, the game will reset. We'll lose all of this. Please, no, Stanley, let me stay here. Don't take this from me.
Okay. Okay, ich verstehe.
Please, Stanley, think about what you're doing. No!
Wow.
Oh, thank God you lived. You had me worried there for a moment. Now, can we please get back to the other room?
Echt, ich muss mich da umbringen, um da rauszukommen? Oh, wie krass. Rot.
There. See? This is what you want. This is where we can both be happy. We really can. If we stop moving, we just have to stop moving.
Und um hier rauszukommen, muss ich so lange jetzt von der Treppe springen, bis ich verrecke, oder was? Oh, wow. So ein bisschen suizidal, das Spiel, oder ist es jetzt Zufall? Ich weiß nicht, ob das immer im Selbstmord oder im Abschließen des Spiels endet.
Go back. There's nothing good that can come from this.
Vor allem direkt nach dem Einschalten habe ich schon den ersten
What are
Erfolg
you doing?
bekommen.
Do you just not believe me? What can I say to convince you?
Ich habe nichts gegen dich, ich muss halt nur irgendwie auch weiterkommen, oder? Oh Mann, allein die Vorstellung, oder? Au.
Stanley, let's go back to the other room. Can you do that for me?
Der Sprecher ist aber der Hammer, oder? Der tut mir schon irgendwie leid. Oh, wow. Geht ganz schön langsam.
Yes, perhaps you can. Perhaps you finally see what I'm talking about. I know you'll see that we can't be happy if we leave this place. You can see that, can't you?
Es werden immer mehr Farben, aber das kann auch vom Sturz kommen, oder? Ja. Sorry, Kollege, ich muss weiter.
No, perhaps not.
Tja. Vor allem, wie oft muss ich denn noch runterfallen? Ich meine, die Haxen sind ja wohl schon gebrochen, oder?
My God, is this really how much you dislike my game? That you'll throw yourself from this platform over and over to be rid of it? You were literally willing to kill yourself to keep me from being happy. Am I reading the
Alter.
situation correctly?
Oh, ist das übel, oder? Ohne Scheiß. Tschüss. Immer noch
Maybe you're
nicht.
just getting a kick out of it. I don't know anymore. I just wanted us to get along. But I guess that was too much to ask. It looks like you wanted to make a choice after all. Well, this one is yours.
Ohne Scheiß, der tut mir voll leid, der Sprecher. Der versucht ja alles Mögliche zu machen und ich bin hier so arschig, weißt du? Oh mein.
Is it over?
Okay, das
It's going
war's.
to restart, isn't it? I'm going back.
Okay. Aber ich hatte jetzt ja keine Wahl. Ich konnte ja irgendwie zurücklaufen oder so. Es gab kein Raus mehr, oder? Jo, wie er gesagt hat, am Anfang.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
Aber wir wissen ja, alle
Stanley
Türen sind zu, wir
decided to
laufen
go to
durch.
the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Ich denke, jetzt machen wir mal das, was er sagt.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he
Links.
entered the door on his left.
Okay.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Hat er ihm wirklich gestanden, Tipps für nicht gefeuert zu werden, Klappe halten und so ein Scheißdreck? Das ist eine andere Treppe, oder?
Coming to a staircase,
Ja.
Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Alter, das geht ja so weiter mit hoch und runter und links und rechts und... Soll ich hier jetzt hoch? Ja. Wir gehen hoch. Schick. Die geht auf. Exklusive Badezimmer. Aha, okay. Klar. Alles vom Boss hervorgesehen, ja. Komisches Bild vom Klo. Sag mal, wozu ist das hier? Hier geht doch gar nichts, oder? Oh. Modern, die Türen gehen von alleine zu. Okay. Okay, das Büro vom Chef. Alter, wie hoch die Decken sind. Weißt du, wie viel Energie das kostet, so einen Raum zu heizen? Ach, der arme Panda. Was steht da? Business? Was? Business Strategy, oder? Ja, Geschäftsstrategie, genau. Ja, halt einen die Waffen an den Kopf und dann sag ihm, was du willst. Oh, der geht. Oh, okay. Papaya. Höre ich da den Sprecher im Hintergrund ganz leise singen? Ja, der singt über Stanley. Wie lange fährt das Ding? Das ist ein Verarsch-mich-Fahrstuhl, oder? Okay.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number. 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Jo, das würde erklären, warum die Decke so hoch ist, ne? Man könnte ja mal das nach links oder nach rechts slidet oder den Boden. Nein, hoch. Alter. So Thors Hammer wie aus Tomb Raider 1 hier. Wenn du drunter stehst, dann... Und das ganze Level nochmal von 9. 3 Stunden Spielzeit. Viel Spaß. Oh, das hat mich fertig gemacht damals, das erste Tomb Raider. Jeder Speicherpunkt konnte nur einmal benutzt werden und oh, wow, Albträume. Das war richtig brutal.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
Alter, wo bin ich denn jetzt auf einmal?
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read
Hirnkontrolle.
Control Facility.
Flucht. Ich will keine Hirnkontrolle, also nehme ich lieber die Flucht, oder?
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
Was? Stand da irgendwas über der Tür?
But of course, Stanley thought better of it and realized he simply had too much to live for.
Alter, der will mich doch manipulieren, oder? Ich gehe jetzt hier rein.
Nope. Still on board with death?
Ja, danke. On the way to death. Ja, danke. Genau, ja, ich will sterben. Juhu. Warte mal, stirbt man im Spiel ständig? Es kommt mir fast so vor.
The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track.
Der Typ ist schlimm. Oh, Mann.
At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
Wow. Das sieht tatsächlich bedrohlich aus, ne? Wir sind ja vorhin schon mal gestürzt und hier geht es ja auch ganz schön runter. Okay. Hui. Und jetzt wieder am Anfang, ja? Nein? Das erinnert mich
As
so
the
ein bisschen an
machine
die
whirred into motion, and
Truck-Fabrik.
Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise.
Oops.
He reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. And so he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
Oh. Yeah.
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
Oder auch nicht. Ich habe irgendwann das Spiel wieder abgestürzt, ne, wo auf einmal alles stehen geblieben ist. Ich hätte echt gemeint, es wäre ihm abgesoffen. Oh.
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish? When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
Ernsthaft? Deswegen sterbe ich die ganze Zeit? Ich bin eh tot? Oder ist das Ganze jetzt wieder nur wegen den Entscheidungen, die ich getroffen habe? Hey, das ist mein Büro, oder? Hier durch. Genau, das ist der erste Raum. Geht's hier rum? Da müsste auch gleich die 2 Türen irgendwo kommen, oder? Ja, genau, hier. Die 2 Türen heißt das Ding sogar. Okay, die 2 offenen Türen waren der erste konkrete Teil des Stanley Parable Designs. Aha. Als dieser Raum erstellt worden war, entwickelte sich der Rest des Spiels als eine Erweiterung davon. Das war eigentlich das ganze Spiel, oder was? Erkundung des Widerspruchs. Okay. Kann man jetzt glauben oder nicht? C64-Style. Knöpfe habe ich noch keine gesehen. Okay. Bin ich gerade so ins Extra-Menü fürs Bonusmaterial gestürzt oder wie jetzt? Ja, hier haben wir den Abspann sogar. Wahnsinn. Chefbüro. Okay. Also das Chefbüro kommt mal hier ins Museum, hm? Die Lounge. Jo, da waren wir ja vorhin, sind wir da zu dem Ausgang. Jetzt steht da Escape drüber, siehst du? Vorhin stand da nicht Escape, nur hier war so ein kleines Schild gewesen. Erzähler Outtakes. Okay. Interesting. Hast du dieses Stanley Parable schon mal gespielt? Weil, so wie ich das gesehen habe, ist es eigentlich schon ein uresaltes Spiel, ne? Und ich hab's... ich meine, selbst ich habe das schon seit über einem Jahr auf der Liste, aber da mir das zu teuer war, habe ich es nie gekauft gehabt. Hä? Was? So, Countdown-Schreibtisch. Ja, was soll ich da machen? Einer der Schreibtische aus der ersten Version der Count. Ach so. Von einem Ende ist das, okay. Ich kann ja gar nichts machen, oder? Aber schön gemacht, muss man sagen. Ich bin zwar nicht so der Museum-Fan. Countdown-Raum. Okay. Fahrstuhl. Überwachungsraumaufzug, okay. Hier geht's wohl raus. Dann gucken wir hier noch kurz. Spieldesign-Modell. Alter, alles so weiß. Albtraum, wenn du Hausmeister hier bist, oder? Ey, du brauchst eine Landkarte hier für dieses Ding. Like Harris. Okay. Das Telefon. 7, 6, gleich klingelt's. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, Zündung. Hä? Der Wohnungstimer. ...15 Sekunden Zeit, um ans Telefon zu gehen, okay? Aha, aha. Was ich vorhin noch sagen wollte, außer ein bisschen Halsschmerzen und Schwindel geht es mir eigentlich wieder ganz gut, deswegen probiere ich das hier jetzt gerade mal, weißt du? The game is now paused. Geht es wirklich? Das Spiel ist jetzt pausiert. Spiel fortsetzen, erneut beginnen, Einstellung, Menü. Ja, aber es sieht komplett anders da aus, aber ja. Sending? Sending. Sending. Hier geht nichts. Okay. Trailer. Ich bezweifle, dass das ein Trailer war. Sieht eher so aus wie so ein Half-Life 2 Trailer von damals, als es noch für die Dreamcast rauskommen sollte. War damals auch ärgerlich. Das Spiel war ja theoretisch schon so gut wie fertig, ne? Meetingraum. Aha. Solange ich mir nichts davon merken muss, ist ja alles gut. Ach Quatsch, das ist ja vom Museum. Ja, sag ich ja, man bräuchte eine Handkarte, ja, eine Landkarte. Okay, dann heißt es, hier hinten ist der Ausgang. Haben wir wohl alles gesehen. Ne, ich muss noch ein Stück hoch. Und jetzt links. Oder auch nicht. Das sind die Büros. Moment. Aber ich bin doch hier runter. Dann war doch hier der Ausgang rechts, oder? Aber hier ist nichts. Ich glaube, ich verarsche mich gerade selber. War der hier rechts? Ne, hier war ich auch noch ein Alter. Sag mal, wo kommst du denn in die Spiele überall rum? Sind wir schon bei Trondheim. Schlachtfeld, ja, ich hab's gesehen. Mhm. Das wird der Eingang, richtig? Da sind wir runtergekommen, genau. Okay. Drehen wir mal die Runde. Der Ausgang war ja irgendwo ganz außen. Deswegen heißt es auch Ausgang. Nein, heißt es nicht. Ich weiß. Nein, das sind die geschnittenen Kommentatorszenen oder irgend sowas stand da. Hier hoch. Abspann länger wie das Gameplay her, nicht normal. Haha, hier.
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free.
Hm.
Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen. But listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Turn off your Xbox. There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path.
Ist es der Ernst von dem Spiel, dass ich die Konsole ausschalten kann? Und dann gibt's einen Erfolg oder irgend sowas?
Choose it. Don't let time choose for you. Don't let...
Schon passiert. Schalte die Xbox aus. Ja, ja, klar. Piep. Das würde mich wundern, wenn es echt einen Erfolg gibt, ohne Scheiß. Ich hätte es ausprobieren sollen, oder? Also zumindest das Spiel rejecten. Und wieder hier. Okay.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it
Und so
mean?
geht das ganze Spiel.
Stanley decided to go to the
Unendlich
meeting
Loop,
room.
ja, bis du
Perhaps
das
he had
Ende
simply
gefunden
missed
hast
a
oder
memo.
so.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he
Ja.
wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Ich war ja schon mal.
Wow. Yes, this room. What a beautiful room. What a gorgeous, gorgeous room. Thank goodness Stanley had taken this detour on his way to the meeting room. Life without having experienced this room was now too horrible even to consider.
Oh Mann, hat er gerade was anderes gesagt? Oh je.
Eager to get back to business, Stanley took the
Ja.
first open door on his left.
Die Texte ändern sich. Oh, da bin ich ja von dem Kran da gesprungen, wenn ich da geradeaus mit dem Kran weiterfahre oder wenn ich hier reingehe. Hier.
And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
Nein. Hier runter. Jetzt geht's wieder runter irgendwo in den Maschinenraum da,
But
ja, wo
Stanley
wir eben
didn't want
waren.
to go back to the office. He wanted to wander about and get even further off track. So now in order to get back, he needed to go, and here it's, left.
Welches links? Ah, danke.
Oh, no, it's to the right, my mistake.
War das der Erfinder von Monty Python oder was?
No, not the right.
Das war jetzt klar.
Why would I have ever said it was to the right? What was I thinking? It's clearly... Oh dear, would you hold on for a minute, please?
Ba, ba, ja, ba, ba, ba,
Now,
ba,
let's
ja.
see, we went down
ba,
right,
ja, ba.
left, down, left, right. Yep,
Chew,
okay,
chew.
okay, yes. I've got it now. This story is absolutely, definitely this way.
Sicher? Gut, danke. Haben wir es geschafft. Oh wow. Resident Evil.
No. This isn't right at all. You're not supposed to be here yet. This is all a spoiler. Quick, Stanley, close your eyes. Okay. We just had to get back to, who am I kidding? It's all rubbish now. The whole story completely unusable. How about, rather than waste my time trying to salvage this nonsense, we'll just restart the game from the beginning. And this time, suppose we don't wander so far off track, Okay, from the
Da unten ist auch
top.
noch ein Weg. Hey! Das ging diesmal schnell. Das ging sehr schnell diesmal, der Reset. Also es geht wirklich darum, einfach nur den Ausgang zu finden, ja, durch diese ganzen
Stanley
Wegkombinationen.
decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Okay, dann rennen wir einfach durch, oder? Machen eine Kombination nach der anderen.
When Stanley... Wait. Wait, what? No, no, I restarted. I swear, I definitely restarted the game over, completely fresh. Everything should be... Oh, did something change? Stanley, did you change anything when we were back in that room with all the monitors? Did you move the story somewhere or... Hold on. Why am I asking you? I'm the one who wrote the story. Just a minute ago. I know for sure that it's here somewhere. Okay, then. It's an adventure. Come, Stanley. Let's find the story.
Hier? Okay, hier lang. Brrr. Bin ich jetzt in den Backrooms?
I'll say it. This is the worst adventure I've ever been on. I can promise you there definitely was a story here before. Do we need to restart the game again? Well, I find it unlikely that we'll ever progress by starting over and over again, but it's got to be better than this. Okay, let's give it a shot. Why not?
Oh. Oh Mann, was war das eben?
All of his co-workers were gone.
Game over nach 2
What did it
Sekunden,
mean?
oder was?
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
So langsam kriegt er gleich einen Anfall wegen mir, oder? Och Mann, jetzt haben wir das Gegenteil.
Okay, yep, it's worse. I might be remembering this wrong. It's possible the story is back where we just came from. Why don't we go back the other direction and see if we missed anything?
Was soll man verfehlt haben? Ups.
Aha! I knew we'd miss something.
Der will mich verarschen.
Story. Here it comes.
Ja, here it comes, die Story, ja. Dann leg mal los. Großer Erzähler. Laufen wir im
wait,
Kreis?
never mind. Not the story. Okay, let's head back the other way and retrace our steps.
Baut er hinter mir das ganze Büro jedes Mal um, oder? Ja, tut er. Oh
Now
Mann.
this... Well, I'll be honest, I don't recognize this place at all. Is this the story? I don't think so. I can't quite recall, but I believe my story took place in an office building. Is that correct? Do you remember, Stanley? Well, do you know what? Since I've completely forgotten what we were supposed to be doing, how about this? You win! Congratulations!
Woohoo!
I know you put in a lot of hard work, and it really paid off. So, good job.
Ja, ich.
No, I don't feel right about this at all. We both know you didn't put in any actual work for that win. Some people win fair and square, and this was not one of those situations. Okay, I'm getting weirded out by whatever this place is. I don't care what might happen this time. I have to restart.
Oh, jetzt geht's aber ab hier, alle 2 Sekunden. Ja.
All right, I've got a solution. This time, to make sure we don't get lost, I've employed the help of the Stanley Parable Adventure Line.
Okay, erzähl
Just
mal.
follow the line. How simple is that?
Ich muss gerade an diese Railgun-Shooter denken, ohne Scheiß. Hier lang. Aus mit dir. Geht nicht? Shit. Chop.
You see, the line knows where the story is. It's over
the
in
line.
this direction. Onward, Stanley, to destiny. Though,
Attacke!
never thought, wouldn't wherever we end up be our destination, even if there's no story there? Or to put it another way, is the story of no destination still a story? Simply by the act of moving forward, are we implying a journey such that a destination is inevitably conjured into being via the very manifestation of the nature of life itself? Whoa. Hang on. That got a bit weird back there. Well, I'd like to apologize. Not sure where I was going with all that. You know what? I think what we need right now is a bit of music to lighten the mood.
Ja, das macht noch mehr Spaß. Hui. Voll die Russenmusik, oder? Oh, der Tisch durch. Hui. Das macht ungewöhnlich Spaß gerade. Hui. Sorry, Motion Sickness incoming. Komm, wir spielen jetzt mit. Wir spielen dein Spiel mit.
Wait, cut the music. Go back and look at that fern.
Was, wenn ich...
Stanley, this fern will be very important later in the story. Make sure you study it closely and remember it carefully. You won't want to miss anything.
Okay.
Wait, what? We're back at the office? No. Line, you do know we're looking for the Stanley Parable, right? The story? Is any of this ringing a bell?
Hier geht's auch lang. Ach, das wäre der Start. Ah, okay. Hier. So. Oh, schon wieder hier.
Oh, no, not again, Line. How could you have done this to us? And after we trusted you, after everything we've been through, you... Oh, I can't take this anymore. To hell with it. Restart.
Oh Mann. Na, da ist ja schon wieder. Die Adventure Line. Oh Gott. Was habe ich mir da
You know what,
gekauft?
Stanley? I say forget the adventure line. What's it ever done for us? We're intelligent people,
Ja.
right? Why can't we make up our own story? Something exciting, daring, mysterious.
Mit Piraten, ne?
Ooh, this all sounds perfectly doable. Why don't we simply start wandering in, well, I don't know. How about this direction?
Eine neue Tür, eine neue Tür.
Now, yes, this is exciting. Just me
Ja.
and Stanley forging a new path, a new story. Well, it could be
Im
anything.
Kreis.
What do you want our story to be? Go wild. Use your imagination. Whatever it might be, Stanley, I'm
Da.
ready for it. Oh, no, not you again. Stanley, I'd also like to veto the line from having any role in our awesome new story. No lines or monitor rooms. Just don't acknowledge it, and we should be fine.
Akzeptieren Sie Trademark. Oh Mann, überall Trademark jetzt im Text oder was? Das schaffe ich auch nicht.
A choice. We get to make a decision. From here,
Yay.
the story is in our control. How important we mustn't squander the opportunity. In fact, I believe I need a minute to think here. Just walk in circles for a minute. Okay. So
Ohne
I know
Scheiß.
that each story has to lead somewhere. Which
Oh,
means that
Mann.
somewhere, the place where we're trying to go, there must be a reverse door that leads here. And that in turn means that our destination corresponds with the counter-inverted reverse door's origin. So starting from the right, let us ask, will taking the right door lead us to where we're going? And since the answer is clearly yes, then by all accounts, the door on the right is the correct one. Another victory for logic. Come, Stanley, our destiny awaits.
So viel zur Auswahl. Oh Mann. Das Verwirrungsende.
Oh, what's this? The confusion ending. You're telling me... That's what this is? It's all one giant ending? And we're supposed to
Alter, ist
restart
das
the
wirklich
game
offizielle Ende?
8 times? That's really how all this goes? It's
Alter.
all determined? So now, according to the
18
schedule,
Minuten.
I restart again. Then what? Am I just supposed to forget? Well, what if I don't want to forget? My mind goes blank simply because it's written here on this thing, wall. Well, who consulted me? Why don't I get to decide? Why don't I get a say in all of this? Is it really? No, it can't be. I don't want it to be. I don't want the game to keep restarting. I don't want to forget what's going on. I don't want to be trapped like this. I won't restart the game. I won't do it. I won't do it. I won't do it. And the timer stopped? Does that mean,
Oops.
did we do it? Did we break the cycle? The, whatever it is that made this schedule? How would we even know? Will someone come for us? Will something happen? So, okay. I guess now we just wait. You know, I suppose in some way that this is a kind of story. Wouldn't you agree? I'm not quite sure if we're in the
natürlich.
destination or the journey, though they're always saying that life is about the journey and not the destination. So I hope that's where we are right now. We'll find out, won't we? Eventually. Well, in the meantime, if you...
Alter. Also mit Gewalt, wenn er es nicht macht, ja. Na, die Adventure Line ist
All of
weg.
his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Was kommt jetzt?
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Nein.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room.
Ich will mit
and
diesem
Stanley
Cargo-Ding
knew
da
perfectly
nochmal
well.
fahren.
Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. The lounge was sublime, a work of art. What was it about this room that called so deeply and so personally to Stanley? Its grace, its subtle charm.
Er sagt immer was anderes,
No.
oder?
Stanley knew it was something deeper, something darker. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Oh.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't
Das
5
hatten wir
years
schon.
ago.
So, jetzt fahren wir mal mit dem Ding
Stanley,
rüber.
I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your
Oder hier runter an die andere Tür mal gehen.
I realize that investing your trust in
Ich habe ja keine
someone
Ahnung,
else
welche
can
Tür
be
ich gegangen bin
difficult,
damals.
but the fact is that the story has been
Ich
about
glaube, die Tür, die
nothing
er
but
gesagt
you
hat, oder?
all this time.
Was passiert, wenn ich die andere
Someone
Tür
you've
jetzt
been
gehe?
neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop. Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have
Wie schön,
zero
dass ich ärgert
consideration
da.
for others?
Entschuldigung.
Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it.
Ich will die andere
Let me
Tür doch
prove
probieren,
that
bevor
I'm
ich die
on your
vergesse.
side. Give me a chance. Now listen
Jetzt
carefully.
machen wir erst
this is
recht das
important.
Gegenteil von dem, was er sagt.
Stanley walked through the red door.
Also gehen wir jetzt die blaue. Genau, die rote war das letzte Mal dran.
Ha, perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door.
Nein, 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 nein. Ja, ich habe dich missverstanden, klar.
I still don't think we're communicating properly. Stanley walked through the red door.
Das ist geil. Das ist herrlich. Oh Mann. Aber wenn ich zurückgehe, bringt das was? Ist ja auch wieder blau.
All right, fine, go ahead, Stanley. You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of this road you've chosen? Well, don't let me stop you. You see? There's nothing here. I haven't even finished building this section of the map, because you were never supposed to be here in the first place. Broken rooms, exposed developer textures. Is this what you had wanted? Was it worth ruining the entire story I had written out specifically for you? Do you not think I put a lot of time into that? Because I did. And in the end, it was all for nothing. Because this is what you wanted to see. Help me here, Stanley. Help elucidate these strange and unknowable desires of yours. What would have made this game better? What did you want to see? Vehicles? Skill trees? Work with me. You've given me absolutely nothing so far. Tell you what, let me take a stab in the dark at a new design and you can give me some feedback. There we go. A third option. This already feels leaps ahead of where we were before. Go ahead, Stanley. Take it for a spin.
Okay. Also das waren noch die ersten zwei von ganz am Anfang. Die linke und die rechte Tür, ne? Okay.
Okay, I'm going to stop you there. Now, tell me about your experience with this new version. Would you say that the game benefited from allowing you more choices? Feel free to be honest. I'm looking for some real critical feedback here.
Also jetzt ein Feedback, ob mehr Optionen gut wären oder schlecht, ja? Na komm.
Aha! You see, I knew I was onto something. Where do these flashes of inspiration come from? How did I know the game needed a third door? Well, it's instinct mostly, a calling in your gut. I really couldn't say where the idea came from, except that I felt it in my soul. You can't teach that, Stanley. Don't even try. Here, based on the data from your previous playthrough, I've compiled a new version. And to be perfectly candid, I think I've knocked it out of the park with this one. Let's take a look.
Leaderboards. Sicher sind die echt, oder? Okay. This is you. Ja, danke. Der letzte von der letzten von der letzten von der letzten. Dankeschön. Aha. Ja, ich bin der Letzte auf der ganzen Welt. Geil. Oh Mann. Warum ich?
Now, would you say that competitive leaderboard helped you feel motivated to keep walking through doors? Again, honest answers, please.
Komm, ja und nein.
Hey, I nearly forgot. I've got a prototype of a new game I've been working on, and now would be a lovely opportunity to give it some playtesting.
Dann zeig mal ein
You
neues
wouldn't
Spiel.
mind taking a look at it, would you? Perfect. Let me boot it up.
Oh, jetzt extra für uns
In
hier.
this game, the baby crawls left towards danger. You click the button to move him back to the right, and if he reaches the fire, you fail. It's a very meaningful game, all about the desperation and tedium of endlessly confronting the demands of family life. I think the art world will really take notice. But of course, the message of the game only becomes clear once you've been playing it for about 4 hours. So why don't you give it 4 hours of play to make sure it's effective? Be sure to keep notes on your experience.
Vier Stunden. Sorry, baby.
You heartless bastard. Did you do it because you hate babies or purely to spite
Ja,
me?
natürlich.
Because if it's the latter, well, I don't know what to do. I'm completely out of ideas. I can't think of a single thing that might improve the experience for me. I'm not even going to try. I'm out. I'm done. It's over. Thank you for playing. Your input was extremely valuable. Oh, hey, since my game was so awful, why don't we play someone else's game? Just to ease the pain. Let's see. What do we have here? Yes.
kommt
This
jetzt?
seems like it'll work. Let's give it a shot.
Okay, zeig mal. Jetzt spielen wir was anderes, ja? Oh, cool.
Aha, fascinating. What do you think
Firewatch.
this game is about, Stanley? What's our backstory?
Das
What
wollte
is
ich
our
auch schon spielen, das
motivation?
erkenne ich ja vom Stil.
Well, it seems obvious to me that you are meant to play as a creepy man spying on innocent civilians below you from up high in your creep tower, perhaps for some sort of twisted erotic purpose. Yes, that must be it. What a fascinating venture into the experience of total mental depravity. So far, I love everything about this game, Stanley. And it seems there's even more. Come, let's venture outward and see what else is out there.
Okay, wer nach dem Feuer schaut, schaut nach dem Feuer. Wer nach dem Feuer schaut, schaut nach dem Feuer. Wer nach dem Feuer schaut, schaut nach dem Feuer. Okay. Das Spiel wollte ich schon die ganze Zeit mal spielen. Allerdings im Zwei-Spieler-Modus war das gedacht. Also über, wie nennt sich das? Weißt schon, der Zwei-Spieler-Modus da von Xbox. Der es einem erlaubt, jedes Spiel zu zweit zu spielen. Das hatten wir auch mit Outlast schon mal gemacht, vielleicht warst du ja dabei. So experimenthalber, da wollte ich nämlich testen, ob das technisch funktioniert. Ging perfekt, muss man sagen. Und das war auch ein Spiel, das ich mal spielen wollte. Das ist definitiv Firewatch.
No, it can't be.
Was?
It is. It's an open world game. Good God, quickly block it off. Oh, thank goodness, Stanley. What a close call. You nearly wandered off into that thing. That big, open, just wandering around. No right or wrong directions. No path to follow. You can just go in any... Oh, thank heavens we avoided it. We're out of the woods now, Stanley. Okay, I'm going to get us out of here. Let's find another game. Preferably something with walls. Something with nice, big, insurmountable walls.
Mit schönen großen Wänden.
I think this will be just the thing.
Okay, was kommt jetzt?
Wonderful. See, this is exactly what I had in mind. Just a nice
Rocket
big
League.
box for you to run around in. There isn't any possibility that you could get lost here. Now this is game design. Stanley, if you manage to get lost in this game, I will be phenomenally impressed.
Okay.
Okay, so what exactly do we do here? Let's see.
Da steht
There are
sogar
lots
Rocket
of
League.
cars here in the back, but obviously there's no racetrack. Okay, I'm
Oh,
seeing that
man.
there's a ball of some kind back here. Is this game sports ball? Stanley, I think it's sports ball. Oh, what fun. We shall run the bases and do a touchdown together? Yes, I think surely we must. Okay, Stanley, here's the ball. Have fun.
Wo? Hä? Oh. Alter. Oh, jetzt kann ich aber richtig Gas geben. Piu. Okay. Hui. Ein Tor für Rot.
Are you doing it? Are you winning? Is this fun? Is it better than my miserable little story that I worked so hard on? Stanley, I have a thought. And I realize I'm not a sportsologist, but if one ball generates a certain amount of raw adrenal pleasure, then surely multiple
Nein.
balls makes for an even more euphoric
Nein.
sports experience. I'm going to try it
Oh.
out. Here comes another ball. Yes.
dachte, jetzt kommen 20,
goodness,
30
that
Bälle.
really does feel amazing, doesn't it? Stanley, I'm like a child in a confectionery shop. I simply have to have more. I'm insatiable. More balls.
Ich wusste es. Badabababam. Och Mann. Leute. Hört doch auf mit dem Scheiß.
Are you enjoying this, Stanley?
Ich mache alle Bälle rein. Mal gucken, was
Is this a
passiert.
real video game? Well, I sure hope you're having a good time, because guess what? It's
Typ hier, das ist wie
over.
Kai Pflaume.
That's right.
Hey.
Your little fun comes to an end. This is my game, and what I say goes. You get to have fun when I let you, Stanley. Besides, you need someone like me to set boundaries for you. Without rules or boundaries, video games are nothing. Yes, that's what I am. I'm structure. I'm your sense of purpose. And since you decided you didn't want to play my game, now I don't want to play with you either. So, goodbye, Stanley. I'm leaving. See how you like it when I'm not around to set the rules. Somehow, I don't think you'll enjoy it as much. But who knows? You're an inventive kid. You'll come up with something. After all, you're the one who knows best. Take care, Stanley.
Dankeschön. Da kann ich raus, oder? Sieht zumindest aus wie ein Ausgang. Nein. Sieht so aus, aber nein. Warte mal, die Bälle sind doch immer runtergefallen, oder? Im Tor. Vielleicht kann ich da auch raus. Ja. Ui.
What are you doing?
Ich bin erfinderisch, wie du schon sagtest. Oh je.
Stanley, don't do that. I can't follow you there. I can't help you. How will you write a story without me? You can't do it. You know that. Stanley, come back.
Beta. Work in progress. Aha, da läuft schon das Bonusmaterial, ja? Okay, was haben wir hier? Nö, nur Maßstäbe, nichts was weiterhilft. Upsa! Entschuldigung. Okay, kein. Ist das jetzt ein Horrorspiel? Ich meine, wir wechseln ja gerade die Spiele durch wie sonst irgendwas. Ich meine, ich habe kein Problem mit Horror. Ich spiele gern Horror. Kann er gern versuchen. Ah, hier. Der ist irgendwie verdächtig, der Flur, oder? Falle ich gleich wieder irgendwo runter? Jumpscare, irgendwas? Nee? Okay. Oh, Wunder. Nix, nix, nix. Noch mehr nix. Okay.
I wonder what he found. If what he wanted was to be the leading man in his own story, well, perhaps he's gotten it. Down in wherever he is right now. I wonder if he's happy with his choice, and if he's learned the heavy cost that comes with it. He'll understand soon what I was trying to tell him. He needs me. Someone who will wrap everything up at the end, to make sense out of the chaos and the fear and the confusion. That's who I am. That is what I mean to this world. Oh, yes. Yes, I'll be back. There's no other way. Once this ends, after it all comes to a close, then I'll be back. The end will be here soon. Very soon. I can wait.
Ein Reboot, ja. Ich kann übrigens nichts machen. Ich kann nicht laufen oder so, gar nichts. Okay, ja. Reboot. Und das war jetzt alles nur, weil ich durch die blaue Tür gegangen bin, ja? Dieses ganze Theater. Krass. Und scheinbar die blaue Tür jetzt alles blau gefärbt. Nee, wieder alles anders da.
What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Klar.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Jetzt fahren wir aber mit dem Transporter, versprochen.
And Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Standing now in this incredible room, Stanley for the first, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Ne, da waren wir auch schon.
Stanley was so bad at
Bald haben wir alle
following
Kombinationen und dann
directions, it's incredible he
Spiel
wasn't 5
durchgespielt,
years
ja.
ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here.
Was passiert eigentlich, wenn ich da runterspringe?
I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact
Langsam komme ich
is
auf
that
dumme
the
Ideen
story
wegen
has
dem
been
Spiel.
about nothing but you all this time. There's
Hey, da ist ein
someone you've
Lüftungsschacht,
been
guck mal da.
neglecting, Stanley.
Da.
Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her. This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside. To let her back into your life. She's been waiting. That's her,
Oh, das
Stanley.
Telefon.
You need to be the one to do this.
Und nu?
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
Gotcha. Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a
Oh.
loving wife who'd want to commit their life to
Arschloch.
you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here.
Alter, aus dem Sack.
This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley.
Ja, ich wollte nur gucken. Ich drück schon.
Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence. Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life.
Und wenn ich nichts drück? Ich werde nicht gefragt, glaube ich.
But in his mind, in his mind he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful, and each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him. And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly. So he went further. He imagined that he came to 2 open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold. As he wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions. And down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parable. It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time. But there is no answer. How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets. The more he
Vielleicht bin ich wieder im
forgets which
Startbüro.
life is the real one. And I'm trying to tell him this, that in this world he can never be anything but an observer. That as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it.
Ich muss trotzdem, oder? Ich meine, ich könnte ja noch einen Moment warten, aber... I hate Mondays, ja, danke. Ja, dann...
You see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself? I suppose I can't, not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button.
Bitte stirb.
And I tried.
Und Stanley stirbt. Okay. So gerne ich den mag, diesen Erzähler mit seinem englischen Akzent, aber keine Ahnung. Der ist manchmal auch ein bisschen komisch, oder?
All of his co-workers were gone.
Bald haben wir doch alles durch, oder? Also,
Stanley decided
wo
to
kann
go
noch
to the
groß
meeting
das
room.
Ende sein?
Perhaps he had
Also,
simply missed a
das
memo.
Ende. Ich habe eben gerade was gesagt, oder? Das ist wie eine Falle, oder? Obwohl, das ist ja kein Horrorspiel. Ich bin zu misstrauisch.
Oh, new content? What does that mean, new content?
Ich habe gerade gesagt, ich müsste doch alles gleich durchhaben. Oh. Tschüss, tschüss. Okay.
Hello, and thank you for playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. As you may know, the Stanley Parable was a video game released in 2013 on home computers. After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable, delighting audiences the world over.
Diese Visualisierung.
Please, step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Oh, well, this sounds delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content.
Das wird auch wieder eh nur eine Verarsche, oder?
Okay, so far it's an elevator. Nothing special yet, but I'm sure it's just the beginning of a mesmerizing adventure.
Ja, wenn ich sehe, wie verrottet hier alles aussieht, ist es eher eine riesen Verarsche jetzt.
Is it broken? What's going on here? Should we be moving somewhere? Oh, there we go. All right, finally, at long last, it's on to the new content. I've never been more ready. Let's do it. I have to say, initial impressions of Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, mostly tedious. It's as if oh, okay. Let's see the content. Give me the content, Stanley.
The jump circle.
All right, let's see. It's the jump circle.
New Content, springen. Aha. Toll. Ich darf springen.
Is that it? Surely that's not all the new content. There has to be something else, right?
Toll. Aufzug. Als nächstes, was kommt jetzt? Ich kann mich bücken.
Another elevator. Stanley, I have to say, initial impressions of this game are not positive. It's just elevators and jumping. Is this what passes for exciting new content? If this is new content,
So werden DLCs vermarktet. Ich glaube, das Spiel tut das ganz schön gerade verarschen, oder? Das Thema.
Hell, I could counter 30 trillion. You could put that on the box. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, now with over 1,000 hours of new content. And oh wait, there's more. Very good. Yes, I knew there had to be something else. Let's see it. I'm ready for whatever it is.
Jo, das war's dann, ne?
Oh, you've got to be kidding me. You see, Stanley? This is what happens when greedy video game developers with no respect for their fan base rush a cheap expansion to market for no reason other than to make an easy dollar.
Oh nee, kann
and
ich
don't
nicht.
get me started on the level of craftsmanship that's gone into it. In fact, I'm looking right now at the game's achievements, and it's hard to believe one of them actually says, "Test achievement, please ignore." What quality assurance department signed off on this? I'm infuriated and I'm offended, and I intend to find these people on Twitter and hold them personally accountable. It's my fault, Stanley. I built up too much anticipation around the new content, I'm afraid. It could never have lived up to such expectations. If you're still with me, why don't we just reset the game and we'll try to get back to what the Stanley Parable is really about. No frills, no gimmicks. Just you and me having a great time together like always. What do you say, friend?
Ah, jo. Holen wir uns die letzten zwei Optionen noch, oder? Oh. Okay.
Psst! Stanley! Come over here! In the vent! I want to show you something!
Ja. Klar.
Oh, you don't want to see the cool surprise I made for you? Well, fine. You're a dork anyway, so who cares?
Scheiße. Was soll ich jetzt tun? Komm schon. Ach Mann. Ich bin ein Dog anyway. Danke. Das wäre der normale Anfang. Okay, dann komme ich zu dir. Ja, ist okay.
Oh,
Aber nur weil das...
mind. You're not a dog.
Ein Idiot, solange du nicht machst, was er sagt, ne? Das erinnert mich an die deutsche Politik mal wieder. Alle Leute, die nicht machen, was die Politik sagt, sind die Feinde, die Idioten. Ah, Gott, oh Gott, oh Gott. Okay, was kommt jetzt? Hey, stimmt, ich kann mich bücken.
You remember how cheap and unsatisfying the new Ultra Deluxe content turned out to be? Well, it got me thinking about the past and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be. So I made something special and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find it. Just our little secret. Take a look.
Sieht aus wie so von der Kapelle oder einer Kirche, ne? Oh, wow.
I call it the Memory Zone. It's where I've been storing all my favorite memories so I can relive the peak experiences of my life whenever I want. Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC.
Das ist ja mal ein geiles Haus. Ich meine, es ist nur ein Dach, aber sieht cool aus.
You see, Stanley, doesn't the Memory Zone remind you of how wonderful Stanley Parable was before it was sullied with a cheap Xbox port? Remember back in October
Dankeschön.
2013, when the
Ich hab
game
dafür
originally
bezahlt.
launched. Back then, video games had integrity. Back then, it all meant something. Oh, the waste.
Oh yeah. Ich kann mich auch noch an diese riesen Schachteln vom PC erinnern. Ich habe nie verstanden, warum die so riesig waren, die Schachteln. Aber ich hatte auch noch nie einen PC gehabt, mit dem ich spielen konnte, also passt ja. Ja, aber das hatten wir schon. Yay, Postkarten. Ist ja fast wie im Österreich-Urlaub. Okay. Die Uhr stimmt nicht. Auf der Dreamcast wäre das nicht passiert oder auf dem Saturn. Da wird jetzt die korrekte Uhrzeit stehen. Vor allem, wenn ich schon mal die Uhrzeit einstellen muss, bevor das Spiel beginnt. Ah, yo. Smile because it happened. Lächle, weil es gerade passiert. Eine Reise klauen. Aha. $1. The demonstration. Okay. Go outside. Das ist ein Erfolg, oder? Davon habe ich schon mal gehört. 5 Jahre lang das Spiel dann nicht mehr spielen und dann wieder kommen, dann kriegst du den Erfolg. Es ist unmöglich, diesen Erfolg zu bekommen. Okay. Ups. Das könnten wir sein da links, oder? So, bisschen tot halt. Plötzlich voll die Life is Strange Optik hier. Besonders die Bäume. Cool.
Je n'attends plus que toi, mon amour. C'est là, dans la mémorisation, où je me remémore les jours où je t'ai rencontré.
And over here is where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable. Like this stunning triumph of games journalism. 10 out of 10 from Destructoid.com. James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote, "Where so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art, Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every game ever created." Did you hear that, Stanley? Every game ever created. That's how grand and all-encompassing the original Stanley Parable was. It was literally every game ever created. It was Skyrim, it was Persona 3, it was all of them, and now it's nothing. It's no games at all. It isn't even the Stanley Parable anymore. It's just a husk now. A lifeless husk with an hour of new elevator content.
Ja, New Elevator Content. Und den Sprungkreis nicht zu vergessen, dass du im ganzen Spiel 30 Mal springen darfst oder so ähnlich. Also an den markierten Stellen scheinbar. Ist das Minecraft? Das ist Minecraft, oder? Yep. Geht's ein Minecraft-Ende? Nee, oder? Ist Minecraft schon wieder so alt? Ich weiß echt nicht. Ich habe es mal gespielt und nach 10 Minuten gemerkt, nee, definitiv nichts für mich. Person of the Year. Das sollen bestimmt auch wieder darstellen. Da das weiße Hemd wieder, siehst du? Okay. Alter, das ist hausgroß. Die Türen. Ich glaube, wir haben jetzt wieder so ein Endingsmuseum gefunden, kann das sein? It's never end, it's never end. Okay, okay, okay. Okay. Okay, okay. Leute spielen Spiele, weil sie das tun können, was sie in den Spielen tun können, um festzustellen, dass sie in deinen Spielen gar nichts tun können. So ungefähr.
Here's another moving passage, this time from GameSpot.com. The Stanley Parable is both a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games and one that offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising, and rewarding choices I've ever been confronted with in a game. 9 out of 10. Don't you get it, Stanley? The game was perfect. It didn't need anything else. It didn't need new content. All they had to do was transport it in pristine condition along to the Xbox. Boom, done. And they couldn't even do that. Couldn't resist the urge to go meddling with a beloved franchise.
Das machen leider sehr, sehr viele Entwickler, ne? Die haben ein richtig geiles Spiel, ein erster Teil, dann denken sie, was machen wir denn jetzt? Wir müssen alles komplett umkrempeln, alles komplett ändern und dann, warum kauft es keiner? Seltsam. Das ist aber wirklich so, das Problem haben viele. What? Soll ich da durch? Oh, gar nicht. Das erklärt einiges.
These were simpler times, Stanley. But I wouldn't give to go back, to have it all over again. Wait, hang on. I don't recall this part of the memory zone before. What's this? What's down here? Oh no, oh God, no, Stanley. It's a collection of reviews from Pressurized Gas, the extremely popular online storefront for computer games. I haven't looked at these in years.
Die ganzen Hassschreiben von Spielern, ja.
Down here. Surely these reviews were glowing as well, weren't they?
Naja, es gibt ja genug Spieler, die bewerten irgendwas negativ, nur weil es nicht für ihre Konsole kommt, weißt du? Das ist ja heutzutage richtig modern. Ich kann es nicht haben, dann darf keiner Spaß damit haben. Ich denke mal, so eine Zone haben wir jetzt erreicht. Ja. Okay, dann schauen wir mal.
Honestly, I could not be bothered to play this game to full completion. The narrator is obnoxious and unfunny, with his humor and dialogue proving to be more irritating than entertaining. Unfunny! I'm not trying to be funny.
Oh.
I'm trying to make a serious work of art. I suppose I could write up a handful of gags to insert into the Stanley Parable, but the game is already such a densely layered web of profound philosophical insights that I can't even imagine where I'd have the room to stick them.
Okay. Ich hatte vorhin gedacht, wir wären jetzt ein Fallout, wo ich da zu der Tür rausgegangen bin. Ich meine, wir hatten schon Rocket League, warum nicht nach Fallout, also... Gibt es ja auch schon ein paar Jährchen, ne? Seit der ersten Xbox 2001. Und länger sogar.
While the idea for the game is good, for someone who prefers non-linear games, this preachiness gets annoying fast. Preachy? Stanley? I'm not preachy, am I? You can tell me if I'm preachy. Honestly, you can. Oh, goodness. This is actually quite shocking for me. Well, to be honest, I had always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse to begin with. You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy as it... Well, I always thought it did. But maybe it wasn't. Oh dear. What an awful memory to have to hold on to. These black marks on my otherwise unimpeachable track record. I feel like a failure. Like I let these people down. Perhaps the Stanley Parable isn't quite as sterling as I always remembered.
Oh, jetzt ist er traurig. Der Arme. Der kommt heute nicht gut weg. Da, schon das nächste.
What's this one got to say? You constantly have to stop doing anything so the narrator can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happening. I wish there was a skip button. A skip button? Well, yes. Yes, I think we can do that. If I'm truly too preachy, then maybe letting you skip ahead for just a moment, surely it couldn't hurt. Not if it means we can strike these negative reviews from the record. Only positive reviews of the Stanley Parable. That's my motto today, and it's always been my motto.
Ui.
I'd do anything for the customer, Stanley. Yes, a skip button we shall have.
Okay. So wie der Sprungknopf, ja.
And here it is. Go ahead and give it a shot. I'll pop you forward in time so that the second my incessant droning starts to bore you, with just the push of a button, you'll have zipped right past it. It's what the players have been asking for, and I'm very proud to have delivered. No more listening to me rambling on and on and on. No, 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 no. The Stanley Parable is a game for the people. And if the people want silence, then by goodness, that's what they're going to get. Well, don't sit around waiting for me to shut up. Go ahead and make me shut up. Here, we'll pretend that I've just begun an interminable monologue, and it goes something like this. The story,
Okay, zeig mal, was du kannst.
or what have you, and therefore by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably we all until the end of time, at which time everything all at once, so now you see, blah 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 blah. We've eaten too much and it can't be just yet, no, until 245. That the logic of elimination
Ich find's interessant, da
the
jetzt
deduction
zuzuhören.
therefore becomes impossible to manufacture. It went on for nearly 10,000 years, until just yesterday, here and there, forward and back, and never a moment before lunchtime. It can't be. It's the only thing there is. How many billions left until so much more than forever ago? Which is why I say, the story and the choices, or what have you, and therefore by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably we all until the end of time, at which time everything all at once, so now you see, blah 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 blah. We've eaten too much and it can't be just yet, no, until 245. That the logic of elimination working backwards, the deduction therefore becomes impossible to manufacture. It went on for nearly 10,000 years, until just... Oh, you're back, you see. You were only frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue full of unnecessary verbal flourishes and lengthy ruminations on the nature of choice in video games. Of course, I happen to believe it was perhaps one of my more profound such ruminations. Not that, of course, you need a description of it, but if I had to describe it, I'd say it was perhaps less of a rumination
Ich sag's
and more
ungern,
of a
aber die machen das doch jetzt
treatise,
gerade mit Absicht,
or
oder?
maybe a manifesto. Look, I'll outline it for you very briefly, and you
Da
can
sind
tell me
extra
what
viel
you think.
Plappern, jetzt mir bluten schon
so
fast die
my
Ohren, ohne
theory
Scheiß.
is that any choice you've ever made is simply a series of choices made by the person who you are, or were, or will be at the time of having made said choice. That is to say, if by articulating a choice you've already made, you bring that choice into being, then by making no choice and saying nothing, are you not simply erecting... Well there, sport. You really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you? But that's the power of the button. The minute I start to go off on a thoughtless display of self-absorption, it's right at your fingertips to go poof, and it's all over. I can't wait to see what Cookie 9 will say about this, and whether they'll edit the rating of their pressurized gas review, or at least change some of the wording, perhaps. To be honest, I don't even know if one can change their review in the first place. I guess I should become better educated on how exactly pressurized gas works. Perhaps that would have been a smart thing to check on before I went on about this whole exercise of making the skip button. Although I have to imagine that after seeing this exciting new technology at work, surely whoever it is who runs pressurized gas will instantly run out and implement a new feature to make it possible to edit one's review merely because of this very situation. Yes, I think that's quite likely. Okay, welcome back, Stanley. Now, I should say that the amount of time the button has been skipping through is becoming longer and longer. That last one was, well, I want to say maybe 30, 45 minutes? It's not unendurable by any means, but it's, well, there's really only so much I can ramble on to myself about. I know, it's shocking, isn't it? But at any rate, I do suggest that we not press the button again. I think the skip button has been aptly demonstrated, and we can say goodbye to it and just... Wait, how do we get out of here? Where did the door go?
Oh.
Wasn't there a door that led into this room? I do feel quite certain that there was one here before. How else would we have gotten into the room in the first place? I don't think one can enter a room without a door of some sort, or a window or something like that. Do you see a window anywhere? A porthole? A sufficiently large crack in the wall? I'll take any of these.
No.
All I want is for us to move on and to please step away from the skip button, to go anywhere other than the skip button. There was a door here before, wasn't there? I swear there was. Where did it go? Can you maybe just ram your way through a wall? Is there any
Ja, mit
possibility
Anlauf.
that you could, say, slam your body into the wall until enough
Ja,
damage
genau,
is
gib mir die
done for
Funktion
you to
mit
be
dem
able
Kopf
to
durch die
leave?
Wand.
Please, I'll take any option at all. I'm asking you to work with me here. We need a door. We need a door of some kind. I can work with any kind of door as long as it can open and lead from one room to another. I'm going to step away for just a moment, and I'm going to try to find us a door. I don't know
Okay,
how
such
exactly
mal.
to remove a door and place it in a different wall, but I will find a way, I promise. You just need to not do anything. Don't press the skip button. Please, please, please do not press the skip button. Just wait here for me, and don't press the skip button. Got it? Yes, good. I'll be right back.
Okay. Ich mache nichts. Es wird darauf hinauslaufen, oder? Well. Na dann. Ja. Und Vollgas.
Stanley! Stanley!
Was?
Stanley, please don't push the button again. It's been 12 hours. You've just been frozen there. I don't know why the skips are getting longer, but they're really, truly getting longer. And my God, there's no way out of the room. Stanley, the door is gone. It's completely gone. I've looked at it from every angle. I've checked every one of those walls 1,000 times. And there's no door, Stanley. There's no door. There's just you and the button, and if you keep pressing it, I have no idea what will happen. I have no idea how long I'll be made to sit here. And more than anything else, I don't know how to stop you from pressing the button again. I can't control anything in this room, Stanley. I can't touch it. And I have to believe, I have to know that sooner or later, no matter how much I plead with you, you're going to press the button again. Why would you? I've been thinking and thinking, and I don't know what I can do to convince you otherwise. Oh, my God. And it's all because of those reviews that I couldn't get out of my head. I just couldn't ignore the negative feedback. Why was it so important for me? Oh, Stanley, you're back. You're back. Oh, my goodness. I have someone to talk to again. Stanley, I think it's been a week. Or 2 weeks.
Eine Woche.
I've been sitting here all that time. Just sitting here. Not a single person to speak with. And you'd think that that's just how it's always been, right? Me talking and you saying nothing. Would you think that it's exactly the same as always? Doesn't that feel like what we've already been doing? Me just talking? But it isn't, Stanley. It isn't the same at all. It isn't even close. Because I know you can't hear me once you push that button. That's what I'm realizing now, Stanley. I'm realizing that I needed to know that someone was listening. I needed there to be a vessel through which my words were moving. It was the vessel I needed,
Was soll schon
Stanley.
passieren?
Not the outcomes, not the story.
Oops.
Oh, hello. It's you. You're here again. Welcome. I have had time to think about you and about us and about everything we've been through. I've had so much time. I stopped keeping track after a year. Have you ever sat down in one place and not moved for one entire year? Let me describe it for you. To begin with, there is only regret. There is only the turning wheel of missed opportunities. I felt nothing at all but regret for the longest time, Stanley. Days, months. I lost it all in a blur of the deepest longing to undo the past. And when that feeling had begun to subside, what took its place is what I can only describe as the collapse of every moment I have ever experienced my entire life. All of them collapsed down
Na
into
dann.
a single
Wir können ja eh noch weiter,
In that
oder?
instant, I could see myself.
Klick. Oh, oh. Ist er jetzt an Altersschwäche gestorben? Hm? Oh. Batterie ist leer für Feuermelder. Also ich glaube, das ist ein Feuermelder, oder? I think so. Egal, weg, das ist ja furchtbar.
But they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was
Okay,
meant to
lebt wieder.
speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed their teeth and said, entertain us. It wasn't enough. They had to leave a pathetic little thumbs-down review and make all of their pitiful demands. But then, he's talking too much, they said. First, he didn't entertain us, now he won't shut up. It's the inconsistency, it's the lack of accountability. It's the unwillingness to examine with an uncompromising heart the words that they are speaking into the world. As though there were no consequences for a lack of cohesion in one's assessment of others. But of course, absolutely anyone can leave a review. So here's what we get. We get these demands that seek everything and are accountable to nothing. We get a world where someone will say, oh, there should be a skip button. You should be able to freeze Stanley in place while the narrator sits there forever and ever. We want all of this in the new Stanley Parable. We demand it. And then, because it was said, because it was spoken, now it simply has to happen. The most immediate desires, every single thing demanded by every person at every moment in time. If someone wants it, then it's a crime not to bring it into being. Have we been
Ansonsten
given to
negativ.
indulging every fleeting whim for no reason
Richtig.
other than to do so? Yes! Yes! It seems
Wir
that this
verstehen
is
ja
now the
irgendwie.
world we live in. It seems that we are a people living in such bleakness and discomfort with ourselves that our entertainment is now our lives. It has come to represent us. It absolutely must speak to who we are as people, because otherwise, without
Gehen wir
our
noch ein paar Jahre
entertainment,
weiter,
we
oder?
have nothing. Without entertainment, we would have to face inward toward.
Und Ruhe. Ich weiß nicht, warum da manchmal Ruhe ist, aber gut. Oh. Hast du gesehen? Der Knopf kam eben ganz langsam.
The end is never the end, 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 is never the
Beunruhigend.
is never the end, is never the end.
Ich glaube, er dreht langsam durch, so. Oh. Ich glaube, wir sind schon ein paar hundert Jahre hier, wenn es so zusammenbricht. Jo. Noch ein paar hundert Jahre, wir können irgendwie durch die Decke raus. Indem wir irgendwo einen Baum hochklettern vielleicht. Okay. Ungewöhnlich ruhig gerade, oder? Wenn der Erzähler fehlt. Nee, wieder nix. Oh. Ja, das ist jetzt doof. Ein bisschen schief, ne, der Raum. Aha. Freedom. Oh.
Wo ist das ganze Wasser hin? Okay, wie viele tausend Jahre waren das jetzt? Jetzt sind wir in Fallout, oder? Alles platt, alles zerstört in Asche. Komm, wir gehen zur Sonne. Sehr interessantes Spiel, muss ich sagen. Aber auch extrem seltsam. Oh, Reboot. Wir sind wieder am Anfang. Das heißt, unser Freund ist wieder da, ne? Ja, okay. Wieso war ich jetzt überhaupt in der Wüste gewesen? Das war alles wegen der blauen Tür? Ich verliere langsam den Überblick.
Stanley decided to go to the
Nee, ich
meeting.
bin mit dem Kran
Perhaps
drüber
he had
gefahren,
simply
ne?
missed a memo.
Genau. New Content. Der neue Inhalt.
Oh,
Okay.
good. You noticed my sign. Yes, I have something very exciting
Ja, ist
to
es.
show you.
Es war ein bisschen dezent, aber ja, ich hab's gesehen. Jetzt kriegen wir noch einen dritten Aufzug, ja. Jetzt kriegen wir die Bückfunktion noch. Hurra. Aber echt schwer, so ein Spiel zu bewerten, oder? Finde ich zumindest. Also von dem, was es tut es das ziemlich gut, finde ich. Also schon eine 8 von 10, meiner Meinung nach. Aber ich mag ja auch
You
seltsame
see,
Spiele.
Stanley, I've been reflecting on the Stanley Parable and about how roundly disappointing this ultra deluxe version has turned out to be. The original Stanley Parable was a landmark, and any new content for it should live up to that legacy. So forget this ultra deluxe nonsense. I say we take it one step even further. Which is why I'm very proud to announce for the first time ever the Stanley Parable 2.
Yay! Wir haben Teil 2 freigeschaltet. Oh Mann. Wirklich jetzt?
Yes, you see, isn't this far superior to a measly port with a few minor additions? Think of all the new territory we'll cover with a
Schriftzug
fully
gefällt
fledged
mir.
sequel. An entirely new experience, built from the ground up. Why, there are so many possibilities. It could go in so many different directions. This is what fans have truly been asking for.
Ich denke, das würde tatsächlich vielen Leuten gefallen, oder? Ich meine, es gibt bestimmt sehr viele, die das mögen. Anhand der Auszeichnungen zumindest das Spiel ja bekommen hat.
Calling it the Stanley Parable 2 is just so much catchier than Ultra Deluxe, don't you think? Ultra Deluxe? What does it even mean? But the Stanley Parable 2, now that's an artistic statement right there. It's future-oriented. It screams progress and innovation and long-term franchising potential.
Ist das der Teppich von Shining, nur in schwarz? Statt in orange-rot? Ja. Keine Ahnung. Ich habe schon so viele alte Filme gesehen. Ich sehe es. Nee, das hat keine Bedeutung. Das Büro finde ich aber cool hier. New content is out. Cool Red Section, ja. Hier haben die verschiedenen Schriftzüge entwickelt. Okay.
Now, to be clear, I haven't quite nailed down what exactly the Stanley Parable 2 is going to be, but let's take a look at some of the features I've been developing for it. I figure that if I can loosely organize a handful of interesting concepts, that surely the game will sort of naturally spring up around them. It'll all work itself out. Game development is much more of a fuzzy magic than anything scientific or logical, really.
Mhm. Kein Apple-Laptop. Okay. Ein Ausstellungsraum. New Features. Dann zeig mal die neuen Features. Oh wow. Noch ein Museum.
Here we are. Go on, try out some of the new features.
Okay. Der Knopf, der den Namen des Spielers liest oder sagt. Okay.
For the Stanley Parable 2, I asked myself, what do players really want? And of course, the first and most obvious answer is that they want to be individually recognized and validated as people. So with that in mind, my first addition to the game is this button which speaks the name of the person playing the game. Isn't that wonderful?
Okay. Waffenblödsinn kommt jetzt.
Jim. Sorry, I should have clarified. Right now, the button only says the name Jim. But of course, in the final game, this button will say your name, whatever name that is. Here, let's have you role-play as Jim to really simulate the full experience of this feature. Just play along. I promise you'll love it. Okay,
ich
here we
bin
go.
Jim.
Let's take a deep breath, clear your mind, forget whoever you are, and simply become a person named Jim.
Ich bin
I
Jim.
want you to imagine yourself living as Jim, sleeping and waking as Jim.
Ich esse
falling
wie
in
Jim.
love and being heartbroken as Jim, seizing
Ich verdiene
all
Geld
the
wie Jim.
world's possibilities as Jim, and as Jim watching your dreams crumble into dust. Do you feel it deeply? Are you really, truly Jim right now?
Ja.
If
Ich bin ein
so,
Regenwurm
then
in einem
please step
Weltraumanzug.
forward and
Ich bin
press the
Jim, ja. Ich bin Jim.
Yes,
Wie er
you
lacht.
see? What a thrill, what a rush. That was you. The button described you. Do it again, do it again. Jim. Ooh, it hits even harder the second time. If this were the only new feature in the Stanley Parable 2, it would still be worth the money. Let's
Jim.
take a break from the Jim button. I'm too emotionally
button.
drained from all of this personal validation. Whoa there, cowboy. Sometimes a person can be too much Jim. I'm putting the Jim button away. Otherwise, soon you'll start to lose all sense of who you actually are.
Jim. Das ist ein fantastischer Blödsinn. Schade. Keine Easter Eggs versteckt. Jim. Ich bin Jim. Earthworm Jim.
I suppose I could allow only people named Jim to play the Stanley
Der Knopf, der Jim sagt,
That
steht
would
jetzt da.
actually save me the work of finishing this feature.
Oh Mann. You heard Jim in the game. Du hast Jim gehört. Hier. Epilog.
An
Abspann.
epilogue would be fun, wouldn't it, Stanley? Yes, yes, it would go at the end of the, well, we'll figure that out later.
Was? War hier irgendwas? Ich glaube, er wollte was sagen. Ich habe ihn abgewürgt. Collectibles. Was? Einstellungen, Weltmeister, unendliches Loch, Gratis-Erfolg. Zu. Was haben wir hier? Da geht's noch lang. Unendliches Loch. Kostenlos, neu und einfacher Erfolg. Ich kann nicht glauben, dass es so einfach ist. Hol ihn dir hier. Stanley 2 Erfolg. Aha. Hol dir deinen kostenlosen Erfolg jetzt sofort. Zieh am Hebel und erhalte deinen neuen Erfolg. Nichts weiter zu tun. Das funktioniert einfach. Hol ihn dir. Okay.
Now here's something special. You remember that broken test achievement that got left in the game on accident? Well, I'm developing a technology to simply give you the achievement. Yes. You see, you'll come to this lever, and when you pull it, the achievement will be given to you. It's as simple as that.
Hebel ziehen, Erfolg bekommen. Okay.
Okay, perhaps I should have clarified. This is technology that will exist. Right now, the achievement is still fully broken. I'm not a wizard, Stanley, but I guarantee it will be fixed in the sequel to at last satisfy the hordes of ravenous fans all over the world who have been uproariously demanding this feature. Gamers, we hear you, and I promise it will happen.
Kann ich den tyrannisieren? Nee, schade. Außer das ist so ein Ding wie ziehe 1000-mal am Hebel. Ich meine, bei Saints Row, damals bei der Weihnachtsepisode, gab es eine Stelle, da konnte man sich durch eine Zuckerstange durchlecken. Ich glaube, ich habe da mindestens 10 bis 15 Minuten lang auf der A-Taste rumgehämmert, um durch die Tür zu können. Ne, Moment, da war die Zuckerstange weg. Und dann hieß es, die Tür, die hinten dran war, die versperrt wurde. Ja, die Tür ist abgeschlossen. Ja. Was? No Screenshots? Da ist auch noch irgendwas? Gucken wir es mal hier. Mhm. Mhm. Berechnungen für das unendliche Loch. Ja, einmal durch die Lava durch und in China kommst du wieder raus. Perfekt.
Stanley, here's an idea that I'm truly fond of. It's never been done before in a video game. This is in fact a hole that you can fall down forever. That's right. Infinite falling. You can fall until the end of time if you like. A stunning leap forward for video games as a medium.
Du stirbst während dem Sturz, weißt du, und nicht am Sturz. Okay. Ab geht's. Ich sehe nichts.
You see,
Also.
isn't it wonderful? One of my more
jetzt warte
ingenious
ich.
concoctions, if I do say so. Now then, since you've gotten to see the infinite hole, you can press the teleport button to pop back up to the top, and we can continue onward.
Und was, wenn ich es nicht tue?
Now, I don't mean to be a bummer, but I do recommend you use the teleport button to go back to the top. Maybe do it on the sooner rather than later spectrum of things.
Nö.
Okay, Stanley. I don't know quite how to say this tactfully, but it's possible that I slightly exaggerated the infinite nature of the hole. Is it a very, very deep hole? To be certain it is. It's an extremely deep hole. I don't want anyone to say that it isn't an astonishingly deep hole. It is. Is it infinite? Well, that sort of depends on your definition of infinity. From one perspective, the infinite is merely philosophical in nature. It's more of a... Okay, well...
Nein, ist es
you
nicht.
found the bottom of the hole. You found me out, Stanley. I'm a liar and a cheat, and you're so clever. Look, I think the issue here is just that you're unusually fascinated by falling. What normal person actually wants to fall infinitely? I figured the hole was as deep as anyone would actually need. Don't you put this on me. Maybe you're the problem. Look, things got a little heated there. I think we both said some things we didn't mean. Why don't we just put all this behind us and agree to just call the hole mostly infinite?
Vorwiegend unendlich.
Then go ahead and press the teleport button to warp up to the top of the hole and we can move on. I'll just be up here when you're ready.
Das
Great.
vorwiegend
Now, I'm very
unendliche Loch.
excited
Oh, noch
to
ein
show you
Juhu!
even more of my ideas for the sequel.
Direkt noch mal rein. Yeah. Oh Mann. Das ist ein Scheiß. Oh, jetzt können wir springen, wir können uns teleportieren. Was kommt als nächstes? Jetzt gucken wir uns die kleine Tür mal an. Musik.
Okay, I'll be honest, I haven't yet decided on this one. I think that in the new version, the office could use a bit of decoration, like balloons. But I'm undecided on Get Well Someday and Happy 12th Birthday. Which would you go with?
Die sind beide scheiße. Blau ist schöner.
You know, sometimes when you solicit another person's opinion, it makes you realize that you knew which one you actually really wanted all along. Get Well Someday it is.
Oh Mann, warum fragst du überhaupt? Was ist ein Arsch hier. Ja, toll. Hoffentlich geht's hier bald wieder besser. Dankeschön. Ja, super. Jetzt sind immer diese scheiß Ballons.
Or actually, maybe I should have gone with... No, I've made my decision. We're moving on.
Was wolltest du sagen? Eimer. Stanley Parable 2 Eimer. Okay.
A common complaint of the Stanley Parable was that it was confusing and paradoxical, that it engendered a chaotic sense of reckless despair in those who played it. Well, I'm happy to say that after much consideration, I've engineered a clever solution to this fundamental problem with the game. It's the Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket. You see, Stanley, anytime you hold in the bucket, a sense of calm and ease will fill your mind and your heart. It's true. As long as you hold on to the bucket, the many disorienting contradictions of the Stanley Parable will feel perfectly normal and perhaps even comforting. You may even come to long for the gentle embrace of jarring cognitive dissonance while the bucket is in your arms. And to be honest, it's a much more convenient solution for me than actually redesigning the game to be less uncomfortable. Can you imagine what a pain in the ass that would be? Yes, the bucket is the perfect solution.
Der Eimer, ja.
Give it a try.
Was zum...
Can you feel it? The glow of comfort, even in the face of crushing despair, must already be sweeping through your body. And in fact, can I say that I do believe the bucket lends you an air of charisma as well? I think that just holding it has made you the slightest bit more attractive as a person. The benefits of the bucket seem to go on, don't they? All this and more await you in the Stanley Parable 2.
Ach, jetzt ist es auf, okay. Ich dachte, ich musste wieder zurückstellen den Eimer. Gott, bei jedem Schritt klappert jetzt das Ding hier.
Does anyone give out awards for most enjoyable bucket in a video game? That really should be an award if it isn't already.
Dieses Schalt ist das beste neue Feature. Das Ende ist niemals das Ende schon wieder. Okay. Nice Merch. Okay, das war's. Ja, hier ist Jim. Haben wir jetzt die Runde gemacht. Komm her, ich habe einen QR-Code für dich. Bitteschön. Keine Ahnung, was er bringt. Versuch dein Glück. Oh, Moment, hier war ich noch gar nicht. Das ist nur so ein Rundgang, mehr ist es gar nicht. Ja, das ist nur ein Durchgang mit Bildern. The baby is all grown up, ja. Klar. Ach stimmt ja, Collectibles. Loch haben wir, das haben wir. Ach guck mal, das ist sogar eine Karte. Jetzt wo wir überall waren, ne? Das Jump Circle hatten wir doch ganz am Anfang gehabt, ne? Die Karte, da sind wir gerade. Achievement haben wir. Der Name, Merch. Setting World Champion, die Tür war zu. Den Eimer haben wir. Die Bürodeko, das waren die Ballons. Abspann hatten wir auch schon. Sammeldinger, da sind wir gerade vor. Und das Loch hatten wir auch schon. Also fehlen noch diese Sammeldinger hier.
Ah, collectibles. Now it's a real video game. In the Stanley
Ach ja.
Parable 2, you'll run around gathering up these miniature Stanley figurines. And what's truly innovative is that there will be no reward for collecting all of them. I don't want to stifle the intrinsic joy of watching a number go up. You simply collect all of them, and then you move the hell on with your unremarkable life.
Also es bringt nichts, aber ich kann sie sammeln. Alles klar. Ja, toll. Komm, schnapp sie dir, komm, schnapp sie dir. Can you find them? Oh,
God,
no,
it
no, no,
really
no.
is the worst when you collect everything in a video game and then they give you a big fancy reward for it. Absolutely tragic.
Na, da ist der Ausgang. Ein schönes Museum, so mit Features und so. Und den Eimer nehme ich jetzt mit, oder was?
All right.
Zurückstellen
Have you seen
konnte ich ja
everything
nicht.
you wanted to? Ready to move on now?
Ja, haben alles gesehen. Die eine Tür war ja zu. Und die andere, dieses Sprungding, haben wir ja ganz am Anfang
So,
gemacht.
Stanley, what do you think? Do you like all of the new features? Yes, I know it's not exactly clear yet how exactly these features will come together as one single coherent video game, but I can feel it in my soul. It's going to work. There's definitely a good game in there somewhere. Say, let's do an experiment. I'll arrange these new features together and we'll see whether or not it coheres into a meaningful gameplay experience. Okay, are you ready? Here it is. I give you the Stanley Parable 2.
Der Jump Circle. Und Free Achievement. Und das Loch.
I mean, there's potential here, right? It's sort of... Okay, never mind.
Alles
Hold on. Let
zusammengeschmissen
me do a
nur.
different arrangement. Okay, yes, this is much better. I feel good about this. Here we go. Version 2.
Alter, ist ja noch schlimmer.
Who am I kidding, Stanley?
Zwei
This
gratis
isn't a
Erfolgmaschinen.
coherent video game at all. It's a lot of gags. And I do very much enjoy creating gags, but they don't add up to
Jump
anything.
Circle ums Loch. Und
I
die
wanted
scheiß
more than
Ballons.
anything to create a sequel that would capture all the magic of the first game. I wanted fans to love it. No matter how good these gags are, they won't stand on their own. They would need the structure and the gameplay of the original. Wait, maybe that's it. I can take the original Stanley Parable and simply, well, insert a few of my new features into it. Tastefully, of course. With respect. With care for the vision and integrity of the original game. Would it possibly work? I suppose it could. But it would need a really, really tremendous title screen. A title screen that says with bold and uncompromising conviction, "This is the Stanley Parable 2." Let me see if I can whip something up. All right, perfect. Go ahead. Take a look.
Oh je. Reboot. Yay! Wir haben den zweiten Teil. Oh Mann. Ohne Scheiß jetzt. Zeig mal her. Cool. Also es ist nicht nur ein Blender, man kann ja auch was machen. Oh Mann. Dieses Spiel. Was kommt jetzt? Wieder der Anfang, oder?
This is the story of a man named Stanley.
Jetzt sind wir ganz am Anfang, wirklich.
Stanley worked for a company in a big building
Oh,
where he
doch
was
anders.
employee number 427.
scheiß
Employee number
Ballons.
427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what
Der
buttons
Job
to
wäre ein
push,
Albtraum
how
für
long
mich.
to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day,
35 Millisekunden
every
den
month,
und den,
of
oh
every
Gott.
year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy.
Und das ist die Hauptsache, oder?
And then one day, something very peculiar happened.
Yeah,
Something that
that's
would
why.
forever change Stanley.
Juhu.
Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Ja, hier sind ja die scheiß Ballons.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Der scheiß Eimer.
Stanley felt the bucket calling to him, begging him to pick it up. Why was he not doing it?
Okay.
Stanley picked up the bucket.
Und jetzt?
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Rechts haben wir ja alles schon fertig, oder? Da waren wir ja überall.
Still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd find answers.
Jetzt plappert er über diesen scheiß Eimer die ganze Zeit, oder? Oh Mann. War das vorher schon da? Oh.
Oh, Stanley, can you feel it? The broom closet. It wants the bucket. You can feel that, can't you? The aura of jealousy? It's as clear as day. This broom closet believes it deserves the bucket. I can really feel it now. It's a bucket. It belongs in a broom closet. That's what the broom closet is trying to say here. It's supposed to go with the other cleaning supplies. Good for you, Stanley. Don't give in. Don't hand over the bucket. I know how hard it must be, given the pressure that the broom closet is putting on your shoulders right now, but you have to be strong. This is your bucket. This is your companion and lifelong friend. You can't hand it over. Oh no. We're getting into name-calling now, it seems. Is this how low the broom closet has sunk, that it has to resort to this stream of petty insults simply in order to get you to hand over the bucket? Stanley, I never liked this broom closet for a variety of reasons, but even this is worse than I had imagined. And wait, now the broom closet has the gall to imply that you and the bucket are not truly deep and lasting friends? That your relationship is purely superficial and convenient? That your life is so banal and meaningless that you'd feel the same sort of kinship towards any inanimate object which happened to lay in your path in an even partially enticing manner? Well, I'd never. Go on, Stanley. Lay into it. Really tell the broom closet off for its demeaning comments. Expand on the wide variety of experiences you and the bucket have shared together. Go through each of them point by point. Share your journal entries detailing the rich emotional landscape of your feelings for the bucket as they have changed and evolved over the years. Let him have it.
Oh Mann. Ohne Scheiß.
Okay, I've got you something which I think will help settle this debate once and for all. Here we go. There. Now it's
Property of Stanley.
no more debate,
Eigentum von
no more
Stanley.
discussion. Take a hike, broom closet, with all your meandering philosophical diatribes about the nature of cleaning supplies and their relationship to broom closets in the natural order of things.
Oh my.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Nee, wir gehen diesmal runter. Dann waren wir aber überall, oder? Überall. Oh, die Dinger sind jetzt auch versteckt, ohne
One of
Scheiß.
the miniature Stanley figurines. Remember, no reward for collecting all of these, only the intrinsic pleasure of a job well done. You can't buy that sort of happiness, Stanley. God knows I've tried. So, I implore you to savor each and every moment you come across one of these beautiful figurines.
Okay.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then, something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. He looked down at the bucket in his arms. Am I crazy? He asked the bucket. The bucket returned his gaze, but said nothing at all. That's strange, Stanley thought. Usually the bucket is a source of guidance and wisdom for me in difficult times such as these.
Hier,
He
drehen
held
im
the bucket
Kreis.
close, yet felt none of its familiar reassurance and comfort. And that's when Stanley realized, this isn't my bucket. It's just a normal, everyday bucket. Someone else's bucket, perhaps. How did I end up with someone else's bucket? This is all terribly wrong. Surely no good would come from this. Who knows what sorts of bizarre hallucinations Stanley might experience without the psychologically grounding presence of his bucket. And indeed,
Gute
now
Frage.
he noticed that the rooms were repeating, which was, of course, very odd.
Wo ist der Eimer
Now
jetzt
he
hin?
felt himself floating off the ground. Oh, gracious, he exclaimed. Without my bucket, I've gone truly mad. Where is it? I must find it. Far off in the distance now, he heard it, calling to him. Stanley! Stanley, it's me, the bucket. Could it truly be? He rushed forward
Ja,
from room
ich
to
bin
room,
der
passing by
Eimer.
one bucket
Komm
after the
zu
next.
mir.
None of them were his. None of them were his special bucket.
Come to me, Stanley. Find me.
He had to find the bucket. He had to return to his old friend. It was the only way to truly restore his sanity. And then
Wo ist der
suddenly,
Eimer?
he froze dead in his tracks. He knew where the voice of the bucket had been coming from.
Eimer.
The real bucket
Da.
was
Nee.
inside of him all along. It
Nein,
was incredibly painful.
er ist in mir.
Stanley doubled over in agony and blacked out.
Echt? Das war ein Ende?
This is the story of a woman
Ja.
named Mariella.
Nein.
Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, picked up her bucket of comfort and security, and walked to her place of work.
Oh, das
But on this
Foto.
particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town, talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. Right away, she knew what the problem was. This man had no bucket. Of course he'd gone mad, ranting and raving about a narrator describing all of his actions and how everything is predetermined and free will is an illusion and it's all just a video game. It could all have been prevented if only he'd taken his bucket with him. Perhaps he didn't even realize he'd forgotten his bucket at home in the first place. How cruel the world can be, Mariella thought, and she hugged her own bucket even tighter. But of course, she had no time for this. There were a myriad of confusing problems she would soon have to confront at work, for which her bucket would provide absolute guidance and total clarity on everything. Heck yes, she thought to herself, my life kicks ass.
Ja.
And she
Ja.
backflipped all the way to work.
Oh Gott. Das könnte man als Ende sogar sehen, ohne Scheiß. Das wäre ein richtig gutes Ende für das Spiel. Jo. Ich denke, genug davon, oder? Wer weiß, wie lange dieser Wahnsinn noch weitergeht. Hier war noch nie ein Telefon.
Good morning. Thank you for contacting the Future Happiness Foundation. We are confirming your shipment of 1,327 cardboard boxes to your place of work. Can you verify that this is correct?
Wie soll ich darauf antworten?
Excellent. Your order will arrive shortly. Thank you again
Oh.
for contacting the Future Happiness Foundation.
Okay. Die zukünftige Glücklichkeitsgesellschaft verschickt. Was waren's? Kartons? 3000 noch was Kartons, die wir bestellt haben. Wieso? Guck mal, da ist die Tür auf. Kann ich nicht durch? Durch. Geh auf. Schweinerei. Es sind überall offene Türen, aber nirgendwo kannst du durch. Das wäre der Anfang, ja. Waren die Türen schon die ganze Zeit auf gewesen? Ich finde das gerade ein bisschen verdächtig. Hier ist nix. Ich hätte irgendwo durch.
Oh, please. Are you really just doing this for the achievement? Click a door 5 times. Is that all that you think an achievement is worth?
Hä?
No. I can't just give these merits away for such little effort. A measly 5 clicks. Now suppose you were to click the door 20 times. I would say that's the kind of effort that warrants recognition.
20 Mal.
I have to say, I'm still not feeling the satisfaction of witnessing true effort for a noble cause. Perhaps 50 clicks will do it. Yes, almost certainly 50 clicks.
Okay.
No, I'm still not feeling it. I want this achievement to have meant something. It has to be a true reward for valiant effort. I want to see some
Alter, ich wollte hier
hustle,
aufhören.
Stanley. I want to see commitment, a willingness to go all the way, no matter what the cost. Why don't you go put 20 clicks into door number 417?
Was? 417. Alter, ich weiß gar nicht mehr, wo die ganzen Türen
Stanley
waren.
lifted the bucket into his arms, and a wave of comfort rushed over him.
Da.
Okay, great. Now, go touch the bucket on door 437 a few times.
437. Alter, der will mich doch verarschen, oder? Wo ist 437? Ah, da.
Yes, now we're getting somewhere. How about door 415? Give it some bucket love.
417, Alter. Äh, 416, 405, was?
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest.
Jo, das war's wohl, ich habe mich verlaufen.
On his left.
Ach, scheiße. (417) schon längst vorbei, ja. Naja. Oh. Es ändert sich immer noch einiges im Spiel, hm? There will be a award for finding them all. Gelogen, es gibt eine Belohnung dafür, wenn man alle findet. Ich würde sie so gerne alle finden, ja. Looks like 427, ja. Mhm. These are hard to find. Okay. Ja, wenn es nur 6 Stück sind, denke ich mal, wird überall irgendwo einer versteckt sein, oder?
All right, I've got a second sticker back here, and I'm going to slap it on as well because I think it's appropriate. You see, I feel that it works because the sticker is also a bucket. That way, if you're ever unsure whether the thing you're holding is a bucket or not, you can look down at this sticker and say to yourself, ah, it's a bucket. There really is a rhyme or
Natürlich,
reason
was soll es sonst
applications
sein?
for
Eine
this sticker.
Schrotflinte. Oh. Normal.
You know what? I could take the name-calling and the dismissal of your kinship with the bucket, but now the broom closet is just giving us the silent treatment. And to be honest, I'm sick of the pettiness on display. You can stay here all you like, but I've had it with this impetulant room of cleaning supplies. Easily the most childish such room I've ever been in. I'll see you outside, and we can get on with the story about you and your bucket.
Nur weil ihr hier drin war, haut der ab oder was? Oh Mann. Oh, je. Oh Mist, ich wollte doch von diesem Träger runterspringen, verdammt. Hier gibt's ja gar keinen Träger zum Runterspringen, verdammt. Was war das? 437? 173? Das passiert, wenn es eingeht, bevor der irgendwas sagt. Scheiße, ich weiß es nochmal.
Even now, in his darkest of hours, did the bucket's guiding light pierce the dark clouds of confusion and chaos. It would be with him always.
Na komm, erzähl.
And he knew it. The two of them were inseparable.
Jetzt erzähl über den Eimer hier, den Monolog.
Absorbed in the tender spiritual connection he shared with the bucket that he didn't notice the keypad behind the boss's desk.
Doch, ich war doch schon hier.
Of simply being near the bucket, did he have any notion that the pin number for the keypad was 2845?
War das vorher auch 2485? Oh. Scheiße, was hat er jetzt gesagt? Scheiße.
Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 2845.
Okay, also falls man es verpennt hat.
But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
Ja, der Eimer. Der Eimer macht's. Oh, haha.
Another miniature Stanley figurine. This, you know, there really must be a snappier name for these things. What about mini-stands? Stanley figures. What about Stanlerines? Yes,
Stanlerines, like das klingt
Another
cool.
Stanlerine under your belt.
Fusion aus zwei Worten, das funktioniert sehr oft eigentlich. Stanlerine, ja. Besser wie Fixter. Selber umgedreht oder irgend sowas. Oh je.
The elevator raced downward, plummeting towards an unknown fate.
Wo ging der Weg eigentlich
It
hin?
would be all Stanley could do to keep himself together, if not for the bucket. Soothing him, comforting him, reassuring that in this darkest moment of uncertainty, he would be all right. The bucket is here for you, Stanley. Everything will be fine.
Was? Frohes Neues.
Stanley and the bucket walked
Jetzt
straight
gehen wir mal.
ahead through the large door
Ja,
that
genau.
read Mind Control Facility.
Wenn wir schon mal hier sind. Jetzt machen wir hier einen Controller.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered to themselves.
Besonders der Eimer wundert sich sehr drüber. Noch ein Knopf. Kameraknopf.
The monitors jumped to life.
Ah, der Raum
and
ist es
Stanley
wieder.
nearly dropped the bucket in shock.
Ich war eine Etage höher
Everyone in
vorhin,
the
ne?
office was being
Da oben,
videotaped,
da war ich, da.
monitored like guinea pigs. The bucket had never seen anything like this, and it very nearly burst into tears as Stanley cradled it gently, reassuring it that everything would be fine.
Und da ist wieder eine kaputte Monitor, der so auffällt, ne? Guck, der da. Genau der hier. Da steht irgendwas in Blau drauf, glaube ich. Ich will gerade mal gucken. Guck, dieses schwarze Gekrackel steht mit 1, 2, keine Ahnung, K. Ich kann es nicht ganz lesen aus dem Winkel. Ich denke, das Spiel wird voll sein mit irgendwelchen Easter Eggs. Vor allem, wenn du weißt, was das Spiel von dir möchte.
Was the bucket under the mind control facility's influence as well? Had the bucket been told to do things it didn't wish to do? What kinds of things does a
Der
bucket
wird bestimmt
want to
hier
do
manipuliert.
or not want to do in the first place? These questions raced furiously in Stanley's feeble mind. No! He screamed into the bucket. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control, never! He squeezed the bucket tighter. His one friend in the entire world. At this point,
der Eimer,
he could
meins.
trust no one except for the bucket.
Gucci, Gucci, Gucci.
But here was the proof.
Wow.
The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he and the bucket would dismantle the controls for good. Two best friends, Stanley and the bucket, up against the world. They high-fived in a really cool way, and the bucket made a sassy comment about taking down the system.
Okay. Also wir können jetzt dieses Hirnkontrollzentrum abschalten oder wir können es hochfahren. Hochfahren? Komm, wir fahren das Ding hoch.
But at the last second, the bucket jumped in and pressed the button to turn on the controls. Stanley gasped in horror. Had this been the bucket's plan all along? To take over the machine and claim the power for itself? How could the bucket have betrayed
Die
him
Welt
like
kontrollieren, der Eimer.
this? Stanley was prepared to throw the bucket away
Vor
in
allem,
disgust.
was würde jetzt
when
sagen, was würde
suddenly
passieren, wenn ich den Eimer
an
nicht bei
image
mir
appeared
hätte?
upon the enormous screen. Birds. Silly, silly birds. The control buttons became active again.
Oh, Flamingo.
Stanley flipped through one video of silly birds after another, and then it dawned on him.
Pinguin.
This wasn't a mind
Was machst du
control
denn hier?
facility at all. It was a facility for monitoring and surveilling silly birds all over the world. The mind controls were only a facade to disguise
Kolibri?
its true intentions. Had the
Eisvogel?
bucket known this all along? Stanley
Kolibri oder
marveled at the
Eisvogel?
metal genius in his hands, the one who had pointed him towards this incredible discovery. Stanley and the bucket never found freedom because they spent the rest of their lives here in this place, flipping through live streams of the silliest birds imaginable. Of all the possible paths his life could
Ist doch
have
schön,
taken,
was hat er denn?
this one was surely the best. And Stanley was happy.
Oh. Hey, ich bin auch gar nicht fertig. Also nichts mit Hirnkontrolle, also zumindest nicht in dieser Version jetzt. Aber ich glaube, ich verstehe langsam das Spiel. Und wieder, und wieder, und wieder. Und trotzdem, und wieder anders da. Und wieder anders
All of
da.
his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley
blaue Eimer?
decided the confusion and the chaos all seemed to melt away as Stanley
Nee.
embraced the bucket. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest, and this was not the correct way to the meeting room. But
Kann
Stanley
ich vielleicht
had
meinen
felt
Fehler
the
gut
bucket
machen und doch noch in den Abgrund
telling
stürzen.
him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong.
Sogar wenn ich durchrenne, sagt er was
To go
anderes.
back to the meeting room.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes, good.
Said the bucket.
Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious
Das ist eine
fact.
Figur.
He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he
Alter.
unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
Oh, ich will da jetzt runter.
But Stanley feared that any path he walked might lead to the separation of himself and the bucket, his dearest friend. So he threw himself to his death, that they might die in one another's arms.
Glücklich nur einmal. Ah, endlich tot. Oh Gott. Alter, ist das kranke ohne Scheiß. Okay, haben wir das auch noch gemacht. Ja, ich muss sagen, es hat Spaß gemacht nach so langer Zeit. Die Termine bleiben trotzdem für die Woche noch eingefroren, weil ich mache da nächste Woche einen frischen Start. Ich bin immer noch angeschlagen, aber ja, schauen wir mal. Vielleicht morgen nochmal wie heute so unangekündigt. Wie gesagt, erst ab nächste Woche machen wir wieder alles in Reihe und Glied durch. In dem Sinne, schön, dass du dabei warst. Ne? Schönen Tag noch und seh zu, dass du gesund bleibst. Ne? Ciao, ciao.